Welcome,
Okay.
everyone. My name is Marina Antunes, Festival Director for Spark Animation, and I'm very pleased to be here for this discussion in our Meet the Filmmakers series, where we speak to filmmakers whose films have been selected into the festival. I am pleased to have with me the directing team from Stabat Mater, who were awarded a special mention prize for artistic achievement at this year's Spark Animation Festival. So I'm going to pass it over to the team to introduce themselves, and then we're going to get into some conversation.
Okay. So I start. I'm Hadrien Maton. I was mostly in charge of directing the movie, and my principal task was to do the lighting and the compositing. I also did the characters surfacing, the editing, and the sound design.
Hello, I'm Coline Thelliez, and I mainly worked on the characters in the movie, especially on the modeling and sculpting parts. And I also did the facial and corrective bench shapes and the cloth modeling and simulation.
Hi, my name is Arnaud Mege. I am 26 years old, and I was lead animator on the movie of Stabat Mater.
So hello, I'm Quentin Wittevrongel, and I was responsible for all the technical parts, including FX, rigging, and the development of the tools used for the film.
Hello, my name is William Defrance, and I modeled and textured the environment.
This is great. Thank you guys so much. I wanted to start before we get into some of the technical aspects of the film to talk a little bit about the story, because there's a lot going on here. It's very dark. There are a lot of themes being explored, and it's probably the film that I thought was the most interesting in the way that it married music, theme, visuals, like the whole thing just kind of works. So can you talk a little bit about where the story concept came from, and then we'll talk a little bit about the music right after. Or maybe they're connected.
Maybe. No. So at the beginning, it was it started with a personal things that happened in my life, but I wanted to talk about it. I wanted to express and to make people feel what I felt, but not in the. I didn't want it to reproduce what I lived, but it was more making an interpretation and bring a lot more poesy and a lot more sacred aspects to it, to make it feel more universal, because I wanted all the people could identify to this story. Even I know it's a tough subject, and it may some people may feel rejection to the movie because it's a bit hard and tough, but also I think everyone can project themselves in the characters in some ways. I think so. So yeah, but we really wanted to make something poetic, but also brutal, because life is like that. It's beautiful, but it's tough, and yeah, I don't know how to finish my sentence, but yeah.
Well, once you had sort of like an idea of what your story was going to be, was it hard to get everybody else on board? Because like you say, it's a really tough subject, and you guys don't shy away from the darkness.
Yeah, actually, no, it was really simple, because I think the idea was pretty clear and pretty clear in my head, and everyone they will maybe talk about it just after me, but everyone was has given me their trust. So we could do whatever we. I don't know how to say, but I felt a lot of trust in the project from the beginning, and there were no misunderstanding of what we were doing, and also it helped us to bring a lot of second degree to it. We were never sad making the project. It was actually a lot of fun doing it. So I will let the other talk about it, but yeah, that's my feeling. It wasn't difficult. I don't know, Coline.
Even if the subject of the movie is very personal to Hadrien, I think as we talk about this, everybody can have its own link between with it, and we all have a personal aspect, so we can interpret it a bit as we want and feel together in the project.
It was a project, we worked on it during 2 years, so the project had the time to grow, and we had the time to absorb it. So it was just a lot of fun and a lot of a real pleasure to work on it. So at this time, it's just a good a good thing.
Yeah, the project was really interesting to do, with a lot of things we discovered during the productions, and we managed to keep kind of happy vibe during the production, even though the film was a bit dark at the end.
Just a bit.
Sorry, my English is very low. And for me, I don't all understand the question. And for me, I love it. The film is special, but it's really beautiful, and yes, I love whole film.
Before we talk about the production itself, I also wanted to ask about the music and the film title, because they seem very married. So how did that come together? Did you have a piece of music already in mind that sort of captured the feeling? Because it does thematically kind of capture that feeling of grief and loss. Where did that work into the title? Did the title come first? Like, I'm just curious about that marriage of art and music, because it seems like integral to the storytelling here.
Actually, the title of the movie was defined, I think, maybe a month before the end of the production, because I discovered the Stabat Mater music from Vivaldi at the beginning of the production, and at first it wasn't so connected to the movie, but it was I really loved it, and it talked to me so much that I thought it was natural it was natural to put the music into the movie. It makes sense at the moment, and then I discovered the Stabat Mater of Pergolese, and in the Stabat Mater of Pergolese there are two voices that communicate with each other, and I thought it's obvious that it matched with the split screen aspect that we had in the movie, and with the two characters that communicate during the movie, even if it's not the same timeline, but it all came together very well, and it was obvious that it was the song. And then there was a subject of the hanging, and the puppet that find its creator hanging, and there was the image of the puppet screaming and lamenting in front of the creator, and then it was a Stabat Mater, but with the creator and the puppets. And at the beginning, there were not so much sacred references, and it wasn't so obvious. But with the time, we added more and more references and more and more aspects to the movie, because it just made sense when we were doing it. I don't know if it answers to the question.
No, it totally does. And you allude to something that going to be my next question, was this idea of the split screen, because it's very, very effective. Was that always in part of the production idea? Did that come in as you were developing the story? How did that develop, that approach?
So at the very beginning of the production, I knew two things. First, I wanted to make a movie, a personal movie, and two, I wanted to have fun doing it, and also to experiment and bring kind of an experimental movie to the horizon. I don't know how to say it, but I wanted to bring something new. So the split screen and the long one sequence shot was there at the very beginning of the project. It was the foundation of the project.
That leads to my next question, because not only is it like one continuous shot, but the camera is always moving. Like, there's very little stillness in the film, which is both artistically really interesting, but it also has like this thematic element that plays into your story. I expect that probably caused like a really big challenge when you're designing and, planning shots, and all of a sudden you have to create this entire space. Can you all chime in on, Hadrien, perhaps you can start with concept for the long shot, and then if you can have a discussion about, what special challenges did that bring to the production? Because you don't see that too often, particularly in animation.
Yeah. I was a bit naive at the beginning, I must say, because I thought it would be, I didn't think easy, but I wasn't thinking about all the difficulties we may have later. And so the first one that I may talk about is the artistic challenge, because we had to think about all the movie and to choreograph it, and it has to be very calculated with the pass of the camera and the choreography. But I was really helped with thanks to the Gaspar Noé's movie that were a great reference to me, like Climax or sorry. I forgot the one, Irreversible, and also other movies with a split screen and a sequence shot. But but the technical aspect it was very challenging. But maybe Quentin can talk a bit about it.
Yeah, for the sequence shot was kind of hard to maintain and to maintain the whole continuity. So we had to develop a whole pipeline around it to keep the continuity as much as we can. And I think we managed to get pretty good result with it.
Quentin, adding to that, did that change, like the fact that you had to design the pipeline around this one concept? How did that affect or change the way that a film is usually made? I assume it probably had some impact, some rippling impacts through the production to have to do that first.
Yeah, the main differences with the more traditional pipeline is that when we decide to change something, we have to redo everything before it, because we cannot finish a part of the film and continue on another one. If something changes, it has to be, for example, if something changed in the environment, we need to put the change also in the beginning, because there is this continuity that needs to be kept. So it's a bit so it was challenging, and it changed a lot from the other films that we can see.
For everyone else, like for you guys, what was your key challenges in this production? Because I mean, the film is quite different than anything else we saw this year, to be completely frank. And I'm curious about, your insights into special things that came up during production that you maybe weren't prepared for, that were key to sort of nailing in order to get the feel and the themes of the film together.
Well, for my part, there was a lot of challenges because it was the first time that I need to animate a character in stop motion. So I needed to practice a lot, as much as I can. So I worked every day, 2 hours, 3 hours after. I use a lot of which is a Japanese contemporary, to use some references on that, that was the big challenge of the animation.
Coline, did you have any special challenges that you had to?
Yes, it was especially about the clothes, because it was the first time I did it. And at the beginning of the project, we did not thought it was such a big part and work for the movie, and especially due to the sequence shots. So it was a bit hard to manage it, but I think we did the best we could. And it was also about the modeling part, which is my favorite one. So I absolutely wanted to have strong characters who could look like stop motion puppets, but also be the most realistic as possible.
It's interesting how you guys came up with the visual look of the film. Was it always going to be like, because it has a very sort of like dark overtones, like there's no real color. It's very muted. It's very gray. There's a lot of sort of like oppressive kind of colors, though they're not like, there's not a lot of black, which I thought was really interesting. I'm assuming that was like on a purposeful decision. Can you talk a little bit about the visual design of the film and how you came up with, like, you've talked a little bit about, trying to keep humans that looked almost human, but also still puppets. If you could elaborate a little bit more on the design of the film, that'd be fabulous.
Yeah. So we wanted to have a very realistic lighting. And we were inspired by some painting with chiaroscuro, like Caravage, for example. But the more the production was on track, we noticed that it was interesting to have a very luminous aspect and very vaporous visual into the movie. So we made the light very strong, and maybe even overexposed, because we wanted also to have an old camera look for the screen. And there is not so much light in the scene. There is very a few strong lights that give a strong source of light into the characters, but that's all. And for the characters, we had some references like I'm Here of Julia Orlik, that was made in I don't know, a few years ago, and it was and also Robert Morgan that were an interesting references for the characters, and we wanted to both have a dirty and dark image, but also we absolutely wanted to have some poetry, and I don't know how to say, but it was supposed to be beautiful to watch and to feel. It was not supposed to feel. At first, it was supposed to be heavy and dark and very sad and all. And maybe it is a bit, yes. But it's like The Whale recently from Darren Aronofsky. It's a tough movie. It's but there is so much love and beauty in it that you're feeling a stronger positive pressure. I'm not saying that we did that, but we tried with the visual aspects because the opposition between what you see and the feeling we try to achieve with the lighting and the music was interesting. And for the colors, it's true that it's a very monocolored, but yeah, it was part of the sadness but poesy opposition.
I don't know if anyone else has anything to add before I get to my next question. Well, let's jump ahead then. Every film has its challenges. We've talked a little bit about the technical challenges of the film, but if each of you could kind of give us an oversight of what for you was the hardest part of making Stabat Mater and how you overcame that.
Does anyone was so much sadness. So the big challenges was to not hanging ourselves. No, it was really cool. The big challenge. I don't know.
Just for the animation part, it's good to know that with the split screen and the 1 second shot, it's nearly 23 minutes to animate for the two characters, and this in less than 1 year. So it was a really good performance from Arnaud, because it was tough.
Thank you.
But I don't know if yeah, Coline.
I think another challenge was to render the whole movie, because as Hadrien said, with the two different screens, there is 23 minutes. So it was hard also for the render farm.
Yeah, and also it was again, it was a 1 sequence shot. So if we had one lighting change, if one shot, we had to re-render everything, or at the end, because in the end we couldn't just re-render everything, we had to adjust the shot before and the shot after, and that was really hard to do. And also for the mind, it was sometimes very tough to know that something is wrong. We have to make it right, but it's but if we do that, we have to make it right for the shot after and before, and it was tough.
Change everything.
And another change, I think, was about the balance between the two screens to show important elements not at the same time, and to have a global visibility on the events of the movie.
That's really interesting, because you kind of pulled a trick on us then, because by changing before and after, you're kind of tricking the brain into thinking that the whole thing is exactly the same when it might not actually be. How did you guys come up with that solution? Because that's kind of ingenious.
A solution for what? Excuse me, I didn't.
When you were talking about making a lighting change and not being able to re-render the entire thing, so you just made the changes to the scene just before and the scene just after. I think that's pretty genius. It's a really innovative way to solve a really big problem. How did you guys come up with that solution? Because it's very smart.
At some point, it was very just. For example, for the lighting, putting a key at the end and the beginning of the shot, and just corresponding the two by tweaking a little bit the exposure or something else. But it just have to match in the beginning and in the excuse me, in the beginning and the end. But between the two, we can do everything we want, because all we want is just not have this this clip that can happen if two shots are not exactly the same. And there are a lot of things that were corrected in compositing, because there we could relight the movie. There is a strong basis on lighting, but everything is made on the compositing. And also Quentin is a kind of a magician, so he could fix some things that were very hard to fix in lighting or animation, or I don't know, maybe Quentin, you want to talk about it a little?
Yeah, the main key we used was the idea to overlap the different parts of the film and making a blend to avoid having these clips that Hadrien talked about.
Because sometimes a prop were here in a shot, and because we weren't focusing enough or tired, the next shot the prop is here, and to avoid the clip, the Quentin did sometimes some blend shape to slowly replace the props, and nobody can see it, but we know.
So it's for the people that will rewatch this on repeat that they might pick up on some of these tricks. Well, congratulations again on the film. It really is like a wonderful piece of work, and as you say, it is a difficult subject matter, but it's also a little bit uplifting. And I mean, that is one of the things that was noted by the jury, is just how the entire thing works together. It is a really outstanding project. So congratulations to all of you. I'm wondering, before we sort of sign off, what is the thing that you're most proud of with this production?
For me, I think it's I think we achieved to create emotion. When I look at it, even now, every time I look at it, there is sometimes tears that come to my eyes. Sometimes I have a short breath. I really think, and of course we are directors, so I love it. It's obvious, but I really think we did something special, and I'm really proud of this. The others?
I really like the fact that this film, I think, can be universal and touch everybody in a different way, with every own experiences. So I think it's the thing I like the most in our movie.
For my part, I am really, really proud of this movie, because it was a really big achievement. I had a really great team, really good. They're my friends, and maybe I don't know if in the future I can make a movie as much complete than this one. So I will keep it in my heart.
Yeah, for me, I'm very proud of the technical aspects of what we achieved, of what we realized, and all the advanced techniques that we developed for this film to make it possible.
And for me, that's we managed to finish the film, and I think we are all proud to have learned together and managed to finalize the film, because it was a big challenge.
Well, congratulations to everyone. It really is a wonderful piece of work, and I cannot wait to see what you all work on next. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you
so much.